Hey everybody, my name is Pat and welcome to another Outsider Review, and this is the 2025 Chevrolet Equinox gas model. As you all know, I did purchase the Equinox EV. This has nothing to do with that one, and I'll tell you why. Right into this. Right off the bat, this has a higher platform, so it's not even the same platform as the Equinox EV. It does sit a little bit higher, it does have more cargo space, and it also has 1.5 liter turbo 4-cylinder engine powered through a 8-speed transmission. However, if you get the front wheel drive, it's powered to a CVT. The all-wheel drive gives you up 175 horsepower and 203 pounds-feet of torque. Towing capability is 1,500 pounds. Fuel economy can be expected to be around combined 9.2 liters per 100 kilometers or 26 miles per gallon. So as we can tell right off the bat, we have a completely redesigned Chevrolet product, as they have mostly, and this will give you reminiscence of the Traverse, which I reviewed not too long ago. Look at that front end. And actually this year, new to this year, they have the active trim, a little bit more rugged, a little bit more off-road looking. I'm saying looking because its capabilities pretty much the same as this RS trim right here. If you're looking about pricing, it starts about 36,000 Canadian and all the way to $43,000 Canadian. In the US, it's $30,000 US to all the way to $37,000. And I gotta say, this looks really good. Like, Chevrolet did a really good job refreshing all their vehicles. So in the last 2 years, they've done a refresh to all the vehicles now. The whole lineup has been refreshed. Look at these wheels. They are nice and looking. So this is the RS, and you're gonna get different size wheels depending on the trim you're going with. So this is the 19s for the RS. If you choose the active trim, you got the 17-inch, which is probably gonna give you a more comfortable ride. And as I'm gonna show you a little glimpse of what the active trim looks like in that cactus green, that would actually be my preferred choice. As much as I love the RS, as much as it looks pretty cool and sporty, that would actually be my choice. Not just because, you know, those bigger tires kind of give you more comfort, and I live in the country where there's potholes everywhere, but just because it kind of looks meaner, and also the interior, I'll go over that when I'm inside, is also a lot cooler. And now back to the RS. So, you know, they got a blacked out grille, no chrome. So the LT does have a little bit of chrome, which not a big fan of it. But everything is going to be LED from the front to the back. All these lights are going to be LED, which is definitely something to appreciate. And as we take a look at it now, it just looks really good, and it looks exactly like a shrunken down version of the Traverse. From where the badging is, from how it sits, from how you look from the profile, it just looks like the Traverse, and a vehicle that, if you watch my Traverse review, I absolutely adored, especially in that segment. From the sides, we do have keyless entry that's just going to unlock both doors, front and back, depends how you program it, but that's how I have it as well. And just a squarish size of it, a squarish profile of it, looks really good, definitely speaks to me. Now, in the back, something that you can also, that you notice on the Traverse is that it'll open, not with the foot swipe, but just by you approaching it. So if I approach the back, it's just going to beep like 4 times, and then it'll open. You can also use the key fob. Here's a look at the key fob, and I'm going to open it. And inside, we're looking at 29.8 cubic feet of space with the seats up, and with the seats down, 63.5 cubic feet of space. Also notice that you actually have a little bit of storage underneath that, and underneath that, you do have a spare tire, something that I've been pretty vocal about. I hate the fact that vehicles nowadays do not have spare tires, and that crap's got to stop. All right, let's get inside. Here I am in the back seat, and the first thing I noticed right away is it's got a completely flat floor and ample amount of legroom and near knee space. I'm only 5'9" for reference, but I've got over 39 inches, 39.9 inches of legroom over here, and ample amount of shoulder room, and I'm actually wider than I am taller. So headroom, ample. I actually have my toque sticking out a little bit, but yeah, I got a few inches there too. I got nice cup holders. And the seats fabric really impresses me because they went not just with one kind of fabric, just leather and all the stuff, but you got some other kind of cloth material here with the red, and the perforated seats really good, and they all are heated outboard seats. I have my own ventilation. I do not have tri-zone control, but I do have 2 USB-C ports, which is pretty good. And the flat floor really makes it kind of look a lot more spacious here. Let's check out the front seats. Now here I am where most of you guys want to be, and this is the driver's seat. And right away, interiors matter. And when I spoke earlier about the active trim, I love the maple sugar active trim interior. It just looks really bang on. They really did a great job. It pops more than the RS, in my personal opinion. And they're pretty much priced the same. It just depends what kind of look you want, really. You want the RS kind of sporty look, or you want the active trim kind of more active look, which kind of competes with wilderness trims or trail trims from other manufacturers. And I think they do want the best interior. But for this one, for this RS, they did take the circular vents design that you saw originally from the Blazer, and that has been translated into all the Equinox and those other vehicles, as well as the Equinox EV and such. Looks pretty cool, especially with this one in the red. It does look cool, and I love this fabric here. Kind of looks like carbon fiber pattern, but it's a soft fabric with nice red stitching, and the seats also have nice red and blue stitching with the perforated leather seats. So you can have, I have actually heated and ventilated seats. Pretty cool feature for this price point. And over here I have the switch that I absolutely love, and I mentioned that in other GM vehicles that I've reviewed, is that all-wheel drive on and off switch. That will affect your fuel economy. So I know I said fuel economy combined is around 9.5 liters per 100 kilometers or 16 miles per gallon, but you can actually get quite better than that, because my fuel economy is 8.5 liters per 100 kilometers for the whole duration of I've had this vehicle. And on the highway I was more around 8.3 8.2 liters per 100 kilometers. I'll write the miles per gallon down below, but essentially you can do better than what the fuel economy. Now fuel economy, if you're comparing it to its competition, it's not the best, especially since that this has no other drivetrain choices, no hybrid and anything like that, or electrification, unless you go fully electric like I did, and I absolutely love it, but that's a different story. Everything here kind of looks the same. So you got your regular buttons from cruise control and all that stuff from the steering wheel, and you have your electric column shifter, which we are used to by now since GM. So you just pull towards you, down for drive and up for reverse, and press here for park. Really good. So behind that, double 11-inch screens, touch screens and such. You'll notice it's smaller, because over here on the Equinox EV, all this is the screen, but here they kind of shrunk it down to this one, right? And that is not really an issue. I can see everything just fine right now. I'm in Android Auto, so wireless Android Auto or Apple CarPlay included in this, something you cannot get with EVs. And it responds very well. It's got a built-in Google software, which means that you get Google Maps included right here. And I absolutely love the Google Maps aspect, but if you're not a big fan of that, you can always just go and download a different application like Waze or anything else, and it'll work just fine. As a matter of fact, with this vehicle, I can often forget that my phone in the house, because I have my music here, I got my maps, and everything's good. But Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay is in there as well. So you don't really see much of a difference. It takes the full screen. Where it matters is in camera views. So let's put it in reverse here. Camera views are great. One thing that this does not do that the Equinox EV does is when I use the rear windshield wiper fluid, it doesn't wash out the camera. So I kind of was hoping they did, but it doesn't. And you have a multitude of views, 360-degree camera, really good. GM does a very good job with the quality of the screen and the quality of the image. Below that, what everybody's gonna love is you got dual climate zone control, and you have physical buttons to control this climate control. Something that people were not loving so much that they were going almost all on the screen. But however, on the screen, this is where you control your lights, so auto and such. But I don't think a lot of people mess around with lights as much. As much as a YouTuber does, to leave them on, you have to go through the screen and such. But if you have screen problems, that could become an issue. But leave them on auto and you're fine. Now storage is great, not just for cargo space, but right here you got a large space with a USB-A, USB-C connection, and underneath, because you have the electronic shifter, it frees up a lot of space here. So I do have a fairly large cubby as well down here. Wireless charger right here, and here's my drive mode selector right where I would want it to be. One of my biggest gripe was I don't like going through the screen for changing my drive mode, something I have to do with my Equinox EV, and they put this one here for the Equinox gas model. Very smart. So the drive modes are off-road, snow, ice, and normal. Easy peasy. They didn't mess around with eco and all that stuff, and I'm a big advocate that you don't really need economic. You just lay off the gas a little bit, that'll do the trick. And lastly, we have the rear view mirror that turns into a rear view camera. Absolutely love that feature. I don't use it very often. I like the depth perception of the mirror, and a full-size panoramic sunroof that actually opens up. So overall, they did a very good job with this interior, and I absolutely am in love with what I'm seeing as far as everything is nice and soft to the touch, where you want it to be. A little bit of piano black here on the doors, but other than that, they did a really great job. But let's drive it and I can give you my real impressions of this vehicle. All right, time to drive. Let's go. All-wheel drive, a little bit in the snow. Yeah. You know what? This does not feel like 175 horsepower. It does not. It's got plenty of get up and go. I'm in the snow. I'm spinning. I got all-wheel drive on, but you know, it only does so much, and it definitely goes just fine. So yeah, you're gonna look at the numbers, 175 horsepower. Pat, that's pretty much on the minimal side. It is, but it doesn't feel like it, okay? Telling you from the guy who's driving it, it feels fine. It just really surprises me how it gets up and go, especially when you look at, because I had the same impression you guys had. You look at the torque, you look at the horsepower, 175, this is gonna underperform, and it overperforms when you look at these numbers, and it does just as well as vehicles that have way better horsepower, way more horsepower than this one. It surprises me. Also, comfort level, I am very comfortable. These seats does not feel like typical GM seats that are a little bit hard on your butt. It's very soft, it's plush. This is the RS trim, but I just think they did a really good job as far as maximizing comfort, from the suspension to how quiet it is, because this is a very quiet cabin considering the price point. It's not a luxury vehicle, considering that it is a bigger vehicle, it's not a sedan, so you know, we get wind noise and such. It does really good job at it. I love the visibility of this vehicle as well. It's very easy to see all around this vehicle. 360 camera does a very good job. Even in the mirror, you got a camera screen in there. Really easy to park, really to drive in the city. And on the highway, you're not even going to detect a lack of power coming from that 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. So I've got very little bad things to say about the Equinox. I love how it drives. If I'm taking a curve, you know, its body roll is very minimal. I just can't tell you how impressed I am with this vehicle. As a matter of fact, after this, now that I've had it for a full week, I'm turning it in today. I'm gonna call my friend, he knows who he is, who's shopping around this segment, and he's looking at several other features, and I'm gonna tell him, I'm like, you know what, this is the one I'm gonna recommend him. Just because durability, Chevrolet's been doing such a good job. They've been climbing up that JD Power reliability ranking up in the top 5, and they're challenging Toyota. So if you're in the market looking for RAV4's gas, I'm not going to compare the hybrid. This does not have any kind of hybrid powertrain. So gas, you definitely have to come and try this one on, just because the interior is so nice. Everything is so good. Driving wise, it's great. Now, it's not going to beat the RAV4 gas in fuel economy, so this one doesn't do as well in fuel economy compared to its competition. But I love the all-wheel drive on and off switch, because my fuel economy is actually better than what I expected. Better than a combined fuel economy of 9.5 liters per kilometer or 16 miles per gallon. I'm getting around 8.8 is what I'm getting, and this is from doing acceleration tests like I've been doing, like you guys see here. I'm not treating this vehicle very softly at all, and I'm getting decent fuel economy. Now, just to hammer a point home, I'm about to cross a railroad crossing on this rural road. So I'm going at 70 kilometers an hour, and you're not going to really feel much. Yeah, that was smooth. That was very smooth, and that's not the smoothest railroad crossing in the world. So there's something to be said. Enough about that. Let's just go over my final verdict. Right off the bat, my only con is something that this vehicle doesn't even offer, and that's an electrified powertrain version, hybrid and such, another option. Yeah, it has the Equinox EV, but that has nothing to do with this vehicle. I own the Equinox EV, and I can tell you these are completely two different cars. They should have probably named them completely different, but they didn't. So technically, yeah, you have an EV, but no hybrid or plug-in hybrid is what I'm hinting at. That is my only con. That is literally it. If you're looking for a gas model, whether you're shopping around for RAV4, Subarus, Nissan Rogue and whatnot, this has to be in your conversation. And I'm actually gonna, like I told my friend, you have to consider this. After reviewing it, after driving it for a week, you have to consider it. You have to go and test drive it, because it'll actually impress you how nice it is, the interior, how they did such a great job about all the fabric they chose, how nice it is to drive. It is such an effortless vehicle, and it has ample amount of torque. Don't let the horsepower figure fool you. This vehicle gets up and go, just like I'm about to go and finish this review. I want to hear back from you guys. You guys matter quite a bit to me. I learned a lot from what you guys say, and really I like to interact with you guys, especially if you're an owner of this vehicle. Let me know what I get wrong, what I didn't get wrong, what I got right, anything. Comment below. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.